Sweetwater Hex, drink this, and you'll never get away from me. Not in this life, not in the next. Leo Vance was lost. One minute he was on a marked hiking trail in the Appalachians. The next he was stumbling into a clearing that wasn't on any map. That's when she cornered him. "Well, now look at you," she said, her voice like honey and smoke. "Your heart's beating like a hummingbird's wings. Is that the charm working, or are you just happy to see me?" Later, when the hex flared to life, "Run, honey, for 10 miles in any direction. I can make your heart feel like it's being squeezed in a vice." And beyond that, she smiled, the silver bangles on her wrist chiming softly. "You'll just come crawling back." And then, the programmer's gambit. "Phoenix, you have to come back to the city with me. They have this stuff called boba tea. It's 100 times more addictive than any hex you've ever brewed." "Well, stranger, how about a taste of our Hollow's specialty?" I looked up and into a pair of smiling, jet-black eyes. The woman speaking to me was dressed in a cascade of intricate silver jewelry that chimed with her every move. She couldn't have been more than 20, with skin so pale it seemed impossible she was a mountain local. In her hands, she held a small wooden bowl filled with a strangely shimmering violet liquid. "Is it free?" I asked, my caution kicking in. As a coder from Austin living on a startup salary, the word free was my catnip. Of course, a welcome gift for any weary traveler who finds their way to us. Her smile widened, her eyes curving into crescents. "My name is Leo Vance. I'm just a regular IT guy who took his vacation days to find himself in the mountains of North Carolina. Instead, I found myself hopelessly lost, eventually stumbling into this hidden community called Sweetwater Hollow. The people here were unervingly friendly, especially this woman who introduced herself as Phoenix Blue. "Well, thanks," I said, taking the bowl. The liquid smelled of sweet honeysuckle, but with a faint, metallic tang underneath I couldn't quite place. Phoenix watched me, her dark eyes shining with an intensity that was almost predatory. "Go on, drink up. It's best when it's fresh." I steeled myself and took a sip. It was surprisingly good, like a craft raspberry soda with a complex floral finish. I downed the whole thing in a few gulps. A pleasant warmth spread through my stomach, and the tension in my shoulders melted away. "Good, right?" Phoenix took the empty bowl from me, her fingertips brushing against the back of my hand. They were ice cold. "I'm Phoenix Blue. I'm a Towns. Well, I guess you call me a healer. What's your name?" "Leo." "Leo." She savored the name, then broke into a radiant grin. "I like that. It suits you." Her directness made me blush. I was about to thank her when my heart suddenly gave a violent lurch, as if an invisible fist had clenched around it. A sharp, searing pain made me double over, and a cold sweat instantly soaked through my t-shirt. "What's wrong?" Phoenix knelt, her face a mask of concern. My heart." I managed to gasp, my vision blurring at the edges. Phoenix let out a peal of laughter, clear and bright as silver bells. "Oh my, the little charm must really like you. It's already bonded." "What charm?" My eyes shot open in panic. She tilted her head, her expression one of pure innocence. "The binding hex I just gave you, silly. Don't worry, it won't kill you, as long as you're a good boy." She placed her hand on my chest, and I could feel a bizarre, squirming sensation just beneath the skin. I nearly passed out. A binding hex? That was something out of a fantasy novel, not a hiking trip. "Wait, I'm a guy," I suddenly blurted out, scrambling backward. Phoenix blinked. "I know. I have eyes." She looked me up and down. A clean-cut city boy. A lot easier on the eyes than the roughnecks around here. But a love hex is supposed to be for. Who says a hex only works on a woman?" She cut me off, her tone matter of fact. "Here in the Hollow, we see something we want, we claim it. Doesn't matter who." I was completely dumbfounded. What fresh hell had I walked into? "From now on, you're mine." Phoenix clapped her hands and stood up, looking down at me. "And don't even think about running. Get more than 10 miles away from me, and that little charm will throw a fit. The feeling is..." She made a small, explosive gesture with her fingers. I wanted to cry. I just came for a vacation and somehow ended up in a shotgun engagement with a folk magic priestess. "Miss Blue, can we please talk about this?" "Call me Phoenix," she corrected. "Phoenix, Ma'am, I swallowed hard. Look, we just met. Don't you think this is a little? You don't believe in love at first sight? She challenged. Besides, you already drank the hex. No refunds. I had no response to that. And that's how I was forcibly escorted to her log cabin. It was a beautiful, rustic building nestled against the mountainside, 2 stories, clean and tidy. The first floor was a cozy living room and kitchen. The second floor held the bedrooms. You can sleep in there, Phoenix said, pointing to a small room. It was my mama's. It's empty now. I breathed a sigh of relief. At least we weren't sharing a room. But then I remembered the circumstances, and my relief vanished. Phoenix, I said, trying to sound reasonable. I have a job. Deadlines. I really need to. Nope, she said, shutting me down completely. You're my man now. Forget about work. But no but. She suddenly stepped close, so close I could smell the faint scent of herbs and pine on her. Leo, you need to get used to your new life here. Her sudden proximity made my heart, the real one, pound in my chest. I took a hasty step back. I'm going to go unpack. I fled into the small room, leaning against the door and gasping for air. This was insane. Me, a grown man, hexed and held captive by a girl who looked like she belonged on the cover of a folk rock album. The room was small but clean, with a single bed and a small dresser. The window looked out over a lush, green forest. It would have been a great view if I weren't a prisoner. I pulled out my phone and saw the dreaded words. No service. My last hope of calling for help was gone. Dinner was a spread of what Phoenix called mountain cooking, a rich venison stew, cornbread, fried okra, and some kind of sautéed wild greens I'd never seen before. I had to admit, it was delicious. You like it? She asked, propping her chin on her hand as she watched me devour my food. I mumbled through a mouthful of stew. Slow down. Nobody's going to take it from you. She laughed, ladling more into my bowl. I'll cook for you every day from now on. I nearly choked on a piece of okra. Every day. This was definitely a long-term abduction plan. Phoenix, I put my fork down, deciding to make another attempt at reason. Look, we're total strangers. This whole situation it's not right. Why not? She tilted her head. I like you. You like me. Seems pretty right to me. Hold on. When did I say I liked you? You have my hex in your heart. You think you can deny it? She narrowed her eyes, a dangerous glint in them. I immediately backed down. No. I just mean, relationships take time to build. So, we're building one right now, aren't we? She said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. I had no response to that, either. After dinner, Phoenix dragged me out for a walk through the hollow. Under the twilight sky, the place had a magical quality. Lanterns glowed on the porches of cabins, and the sound of a distant banjo drifted through the air. There's a bonfire tonight. I'll introduce you around, she said, naturally taking my hand. I tried to pull away, but her grip tightened. Don't fidget. You'll upset the charm. I instantly went still. This damn hex was a living handcuff. People were dancing and singing around a massive bonfire. When they saw Phoenix leading me by the hand, knowing, gentle smiles spread across their faces. Phoenix, honey, is this your young man? An old woman with a kind, wrinkled face asked. He is, Granny May, Phoenix announced, puffing out her chest with pride. Found him wandering out of the woods. Ain't he a handsome one? Oh, a keeper for sure. Granny may know that. So, when's the wedding? I nearly swallowed my own tongue. Wedding? We were moving way too fast. Soon, Phoenix replied cheerfully, pulling me into the circle of dancers. After a few minutes of being spun around, I was completely breathless. Okay, I need a break. City boys have no stamina, she teased, but led me to a log bench to sit down. Phoenix, I said, choosing my words carefully. We've known each other for less than a day. Don't you think talk of marriage is a bit premature? How long do you think is appropriate? She asked, genuinely curious. I don't know. A few months? A year? A year. Her eyes went wide. That long. Around here, if you like someone, you could be married by sunrise. I put my head in my hands. The cultural gap was a chasm. Besides, she leaned in, her warm breath tickling my ear. The little charm inside you can't wait that long. I stiffened. What? What do you mean? Once a binding hex takes root, it starts to change you. She winked playfully. If we don't complete the ritual within a month, things could get very uncomfortable for you. I felt the thing in my chest give a cheerful little squirm. What kind of demonic hex was this? Back at the cabin, I collapsed onto my bed, exhausted. In a single day, my life had been turned completely upside down. I'd gone from a free man to the future cabin husband of an Appalachian priestess. Leo, I drew you a hot foot bath. Phoenix's voice came from outside my door. No, thanks, I'm good. I yelled back. Don't be shy. She pushed the door open, carrying a basin of steaming water. I'll do this for you every night from now on. No, really, that's too much. Before I could finish, she was already on her knees, grabbing my ankle and pulling off my sock. I struggled for a moment, then gave up, surrendering my foot to the warm, herbal-scented water. I had to admit, she knew what she was doing. The way she massaged my feet was incredible, hitting pressure points I didn't know I had. It felt so good, I almost groaned. Feels good, doesn't it? She asked, looking up at me with a smug grin. Yeah, I had to concede. There's more where that came from, she said with a suggestive wink. My face flushed. This girl was unbelievably forward. After the foot bath, she offered to give me a sponge bath, an offer I vehemently refused until she finally relented. Lying in bed, I tossed and turned, trying to devise an escape plan. First, figure out what this hex really was. Second, find a way to break it. Third, make a run for it when she wasn't looking. With that in mind, I crept out of bed and quietly opened my door, only to find Phoenix leaning against the hallway wall, a knowing smile on her face. Can't sleep. Want to join me? No, I just had to use the bathroom. It's downstairs, she pointed. Want me to come with you? No, thanks. When I got back upstairs, she was still there waiting. Leo, don't try to run, she said softly. You can't get away. I tried to look calm. I wasn't trying to run. Good. She reached out and placed her hand on my chest. A warm, tingling sensation spread from the spot. The little charm tells me where you are and what you're feeling. I stared at her in horror. It can read my mind. Not your thoughts, silly, she laughed, but it can read your emotions. Right now, for instance, you're scared. And a little turned on. I am not. I denied it, but my face felt like it was on fire. Get some sleep. We're gathering herbs in the morning. She leaned in and gave me a soft kiss on the forehead before disappearing into her room. I stood there, frozen for a full minute. This girl was a master manipulator. No, Leo, stay strong. You're the victim here. Back in bed, I had a strange dream. I was a moth, hopelessly drawn to a beautiful, glowing lantern, knowing I would be burned, but flying toward it anyway. The next morning, Phoenix shook me awake. Rise and shine. The sun's been up for hours. Her voice was bursting with energy. I blearily opened my... It's so early. I mumbled, rolling over. Not it's not, she said, yanking the covers off me. Get up, or I'm kissing you awake. I was instantly alert, scrambling to grab the blanket. I'm up, just. Get out. She giggled and left the room. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Downstairs, she had breakfast ready. Biscuits and gravy, and some kind of sausage I'd never had before. Eat up. We're heading to the backwoods after this, she said, sliding a plate in front of me. What for? To gather herbs, she said, as if it were obvious. As my man, you need to learn how to identify them. I almost choked on my biscuit. Who's your? She narrowed her eyes. Okay, herbs it is, I mumbled, surrendering to my fate. The woods behind her cabin were breathtakingly beautiful. The air was crisp and clean, filled with the scent of pine and damp earth. If I wasn't a hostage, it would have been a 5-star hiking experience. This is ginseng, good for energy. Phoenix pointed out various plants. This is golden seal, a natural antibiotic. I was mechanically trying to remember when I spotted a familiar plant. Hey, isn't that mint? Oh, you know this one? She asked, surprised. Yeah, I tried growing some on my balcony once. I said, then realized my mistake. Your balcony? Her eyes lit up. In what city? How big is your apartment? What's the decor like? I just stared at her. What? She said, grinning. It's going to be my home too someday. Might as well get the details. I looked up at the sky, exasperated. How did this girl's brain work? On the way back from our herb gathering expedition, I deliberately lagged behind, scanning the terrain for a possible escape route. Don't bother, she said without turning around. These woods are full of snakes and bears. Without me, you wouldn't last a day. My blood ran cold. How did she know what I was thinking? As if reading my mind again, she turned and pointed at my chest. The charm told me. Of course, the damn spy hex. Back in the hollow, Phoenix was busy drying the herbs while I was cornered by a group of curious locals. How old are you, son? You got family back in the city. When are you and Phoenix tying the knot? I was sweating, trying to feel their questions, when I heard a commotion. A tall, broad-shouldered mountain man was striding toward me, his face a thundercloud. You the city boy Phoenix brought back? He sneered, looking down at me. I took an involuntary step back. Why, yes, that's me. Jed, what do you think you're doing? Phoenix's sharp voice cut through the air. The man, Jed, ignored her and grabbed the front of my shirt. Phoenix is the prettiest girl in this hollow. What makes you think you're good enough for her? He stopped mid-sentence, his face turning pale. He let go of me and stumbled backward. You got her mark on you. I straightened my shirt, completely confused. Phoenix rushed over and stood in front of me like a protective mother bear. Jed, Leo is my man now. You lay one finger on him, and you'll answer to me. Jed's face twisted with anger and fear, but he eventually turned and stomped away. The other townspeople were now looking at me with a newfound respect, or maybe it was fear. They weren't looking at me, but at my chest. Are you okay? Phoenix turned to check if I was hurt. I'm fine, but I lower my voice. They seem really scared of your hex. Of course they are, she said, her chin held high. I'm the most powerful conjure woman in these mountains. No one messes with my binding hex. I swallowed hard. I had really picked the wrong person to get lost near. After dinner, Phoenix produced a small, carved wooden box. Leo, a gift for you. Eyed the box suspiciously. It's not another bug, is it? No, she swatted my arm playfully. She opened the box to reveal a beautifully crafted silver ring. It's a promise ring, a mountain tradition. It's beautiful, but I can't. You have to. She grabbed my hand and slid the ring on my left ring finger. Once you wear this, it means you've accepted me. I tried to take it off, but it wouldn't budge. It was like it had fused to my finger. Don't bother, she said, grinning. That ring is paired with mine. She held up her own hand, showing off a matching silver ring. Only I can take it off. I stare at my hand, then at hers. I wanted to cry. I was well and truly trapped. Late that night, I made another escape attempt. I'd learned my lesson. I waited until I was sure Phoenix was fast asleep. I tiptoed downstairs, slipped out the cabin door, and into the cool night air. Step 1, success. I moved silently toward the edge of the hollow. I had made it maybe 100 yards when a blinding, white-hot pain exploded in my chest. It felt like someone had driven a red-hot poker straight into my heart. I collapsed to my knees, gasping for air as a cold sweat drenched my body. Leo, Phoenix's voice, full of panic, came from behind me, followed by the sound of running feet. She dropped to her knees beside me and pulled me in her arms. You fool. I told you you can't run. The pain was so intense I couldn't speak. I could only clutch at her shirt, desperate for any kind of anchor. Sure, it's okay, just relax. She murmured, placing a hand over my heart and chanting something in a low, melodic language I didn't understand. Slowly, the agony subsided, leaving me limp and exhausted in her arms. I could smell the familiar scent of herbs and pine on her. See what happens, she said, her voice laced with frustration and concern. The hex can kill you if you push it. Why? Me? I asked, my voice weak. She was silent for a moment. Because when you first looked at me, there was no fear in your eyes. Only curiosity. Everyone else here either fears me or wants something from me. But you just saw a person. I was stunned. I never would have guessed. And, she added, a mischievous glint returning to her eyes. You're totally my type. I had no response to that. She helped me to my feet, brushing the dirt off my clothes. Come on, let's go home. It's getting cold. I followed her meekly back to the cabin. For some reason, the urge to fight her had faded. Maybe it was seeing that flicker of vulnerability, or maybe I was just too damn tired to resist anymore. Back at the cabin, she didn't tease or touch me. She just told me to get some rest and went to her own room. Lying in bed, I stared at the silver ring on my finger. In just 2 days, my entire world had been upended, hexed, held captive, and forced into an engagement. But strangely, I wasn't as angry as I thought I should be. Phoenix, for all her domineering ways, was actually kind to me. And the way she smiled when she wasn't trying to be intimidating was genuinely beautiful. Stop it, Leo, I told myself. This is Stockholm Syndrome. You're a hostage. I pinched myself hard, trying to clear my head of these dangerous thoughts. But that night, I dreamt of the moth and the lantern again. And this time, I flew into the flame willingly. On the third morning, I woke up to the smell of bacon. I opened my eyes to see Phoenix sitting on the edge of my bed, holding a tray. You're awake. I got Granny May to teach me how to make a proper city breakfast, she said, presenting the tray like a trophy. It held a perfect stack of pancakes, crispy bacon, and scrambled eggs. Her eyes were shining. Try it. I took the plate. It looked like something straight out of an IHOP commercial. I took a bite. It was perfect. Is it good? She asked, her voice tight with anticipation, like a student waiting for a grade. Yeah, it's really good, I said honestly, then caught myself. Wait, when did you learn this? Last night, after you fell asleep. She tossed her head proudly, her silver jewelry chiming. I was up half the night practicing. I wanted to surprise you. I froze. This domineering, hex-wielding mountain woman had stayed up all night to learn how to make pancakes for me? But why? To make you happy, of course, she said, as if it were obvious. She reached out and poked my cheek. When you're happy, the little charm is happy, and I'm happy. I looked down at my plate, trying to hide the blush creeping up my neck. This girl and her devastatingly direct lines. After breakfast, Phoenix dragged me to the local market day. She acted like a personal tour guide, introducing me to all sorts of local crafts and foods, and even bought me an embroidered vest. Just try it on. You'll look so handsome, she insisted, practically forcing it onto me. I put on, and she let out an exaggerated gasp. Wow, Leo, you look amazing in our clothes. A few of the local girls giggled in agreement, and I felt so awkward I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Don't be shy, she laughed, linking her arm through mine. Come on, I want to show you something. She led me to a high bluff at the edge of the hollow, a spot that overlooked the entire valley. Tucked between the green mountains, the collection of log cabins with their wisps of chimney smoke looked like a scene from a fairy tale. It's beautiful, isn't it? She said with pride. This is my home. I nodded. It was beautiful, but the thought that I was a prisoner here soured the view. Phoenix, I hesitated. Have you ever thought about seeing the world outside the hollow? She blinked. Outside? You mean the city? Yeah. Skyscrapers, traffic, all kinds of things you don't have here. I pulled out my phone. Look, this is where I live. I started scrolling through my photo gallery, showing her pictures of Austin. Phoenix's eyes grew wider and wider. How are those buildings so tall? Don't they fall over? How do all those cars not crash into each other? Whoa, what's that giant glowing screen? She was like a child at a magic show, asking a million questions, and I patiently answered everyone. Watching her face, alight with wonder, a bold plan began to form in my mind. If I couldn't escape her, why not flip the script and get her to escape with me? Phoenix, there's so much cool stuff in the city. I began, my voice low and enticing. Movie theaters, amusement parks, every kind of food you can imagine. Really? She swallowed. Better than venison stew? Definitely. We have Texas barbecue, gourmet tacos, ramen that will change your life. With every word, her eyes got brighter. So, she suddenly looked at me with suspicion. You're just trying to trick me into leaving so you can run away, aren't you? Of course not. I put on my most sincere face. I've got your hex in me. Remember? I can't go anywhere. She considered this for a moment and nodded. That's true. But she narrowed her eyes. Why the sudden sales pitch? I leaned in, lowering my voice conspiratorially. Because I think the little charm in my chest would be happier in the city. Huh? She looked completely baffled. Think about it, I said, talking complete nonsense with the confidence of a seasoned con artist. A hex is a living thing, right? It needs stimulation, a dynamic, modern environment to thrive. It'll be stronger, healthier, more vibrant in the city. Phoenix looked at me, completely skeptical. Really? I've never heard that before. Well, think about it. I pressed on. Have you ever heard of a binding hex failing in the hollow? It's because the environment is too stagnant, too old-fashioned. She tilted her head, her silver jewelry tinkling. Well, I have heard of a few cases that didn't take properly. See, I said, going in for the kill. It's for the hex's own good. We should go to the city for a while. Think of it as a wellness retreat for the charm. But she hesitated. The hollow needs me. I'm their healer. We're not leaving forever. I soothed. Think of it as a research trip. You can learn all the city folks' secrets and bring them back to make the hollow even better. Her eyes lit up. That's a great idea. I can steal all their best ideas. I had a triumphant smile. Phase 1 of the plan was a success. On the way back to the cabin, Phoenix was clearly distracted, peppering me with questions about city life. I used the opportunity to paint a picture of a technological paradise. People in the city don't have to wash their own clothes? She asked, amazed. Nope. Washing machines. You just press a button. What about cooking? DoorDash. You tap your phone, and whatever you want shows up at your door in 30 minutes. What about going to the bathroom? That you still have to do yourself. She burst out laughing, and I couldn't help but laugh with her. This mountain priestess was, at times, incredibly charming. At dinner, Phoenix barely touched her food, just pushed her stew around the bowl with a spoon. What's on your mind? I asked. Leo, she looked up suddenly. If, and I'm just saying if, I went to the city with you, would I seem weird? I was taken aback for a second. Then I understood her fear. No way, you're beautiful. You could wear a potato sack and you'd still turn heads. Really? Her eyes brightened. Totally. And besides, I leaned in. City people are obsessed with authentic stuff like this. I gestured to her clothes. You be the coolest girl in any room you walk into. The coolest. Girl, she repeated the unfamiliar slang. The most beautiful, the most interesting, I explained with a smile. She beamed. Then her expression turned serious again. But I have to talk to the elders first. My heart sank. If the elders said no, my plan was dead. Phoenix, I asked carefully, what if they don't agree? She gave me a strange look. Honey, I'm the one who bruised the hexes. You think I need their permission to go anywhere? Right? I forgot I was dealing with the magical equivalent of a mob boss. That night, Phoenix went off to negotiate with the elders. I waited nervously in the cabin, praying my plan wouldn't blow up in my face. 2 hours later, she returned, a victorious smile on her face. It's all set. The elders agree I can go, but I have to take Daisy with me as a bodyguard. Daisy? I asked. My cousin. She's a badass. Phoenix winked. Mostly to make sure certain people. She poked my chest. Don't get any funny ideas? I managed a weak smile. This plan just got a lot more complicated. The next day, I met Daisy. She was a head taller than Phoenix, with a sheathed knife on her belt and a gaze that could strip paint. So you're the city boy? She said, sizing me up. You look soft. I wonder if you could take a punch. I swallowed hard. Daisy, I think we're on the same team here. She grunted. My cousin is too trusting. I'm not. You try anything, and I'll deal with you myself. She made a quick, sharp gesture across her throat. A chill went down my spine. This wasn't a bodyguard. This was a warden. Phoenix, however, was ecstatic, chattering away with Daisy about what they should pack. I sat on the sidelines, trying to figure out how to handle this new variable. For the next few days, as Phoenix prepared for her trip, Daisy followed me everywhere. She was a human surveillance camera. I couldn't even go to the bathroom without her standing guard outside the door. Daisy, I said, exasperated. You're making me a little nervous. Good, she said flatly. Stay nervous. I sighed. My great escape plan was hitting a major snag. The breakthrough came the day before we were set to leave. Phoenix ran up to me, giddy with excitement, holding 2 outfits. Leo, look, I had the seamstress make these. They were modern-style clothes, jeans and shirts, but with beautiful, traditional mountain embroidery. They were actually really cool. We'll wear these tomorrow when we leave, she announced. Is Daisy wearing one too? I asked. Of course. Wait, a thought struck her. I don't think Daisy has ever worn jeans in her life. My eyes lit up. So what does that mean she's? It's fine, I'll teach her, Phoenix said, dashing my hopes. But that night, something unexpected happened. 19, I was packing my bag when Daisy came into my room, looking uncharacteristically hesitant. City boy, she said in a low voice. I need to ask you something. What is it? Is the city really that great? There was a flicker of something in her eyes. I immediately sensed an opening and switched into full salesman mode. Are you kidding? It's incredible. The lights, the music, the food. And I lower my voice, tons of handsome city guys. Daisy's face turned bright red. Who asked about that? Who? I smiled knowingly. So that's what this is about. Shut up, she snapped. But her ears were crimson. I'm just worried about Phoenix, that's all. Don't be, I said sincerely. You'll be right there watching me. What kind of trouble could I possibly get into? She looked at me, still suspicious, but eventually grunted and left. I noticed, however, that there was a new spring in her step. Even my warden had an Achilles heel. On the day of our departure, the entire hollow came out to see us off. The elders gave Phoenix a long, tearful lecture, while Daisy was mobbed by a group of her friends, her face flushed and flustered. What's up with Daisy? Phoenix asked me. Probably just sad to leave her friends. I lied smoothly. Finally, with the whole town waving, the three of us started down the path out of the mountains. Phoenix was practically skipping, thrilled as a kid on Christmas morning. Daisy, though still trying to look stern, couldn't hide the anticipation in her eyes. And me, I was secretly ecstatic. My reverse kidnapping was officially underway. 20 at the foot of the mountain, where the dirt path met a paved road, Phoenix suddenly stopped. What's wrong? I asked. She turned and looked back toward the distant hollow, her expression suddenly uncertain. Leo, I'm a little scared. I was surprised. I never thought this bold, confident woman could be scared of anything. Scared of what? I asked gently. Of not fitting in, she said, looking down and fiddling with the silver rings on her fingers. I've never left the hollow before. My heart softened. I stepped closer and gently took her hand. Don't be. You've got me. She looked up at me, her eyes glistening. You'll take care of me. Of course, I smiled. Just like you took care of me. A real smile, bright and genuine, spread across her face, and she squeezed my hand. It's a deal, then. You have to be my official city guide. You got it. I agreed readily, thinking to myself, who exactly is leading who here? Daisy cleared her throat loudly from a few feet away. Keep it professional, you two. Phoenix and I looked at each other and laughed, letting go of our hands. On the shuttle bus to the nearest town, Phoenix and Daisy were like two kids, their faces pressed against the window. That metal box is moving all by itself. Wow, that house is so tall. Oh my God, that man's hair is purple. The other passengers were chuckling at their reactions. I slouched in my seat, pretending to be asleep, but I couldn't suppress the strange, warm feeling in my chest. From the town, we took a coach bus to the city. Phoenix's initial excitement quickly faded as motion sickness set in. Her face went pale, and she leaned her head on my shoulder. I don't feel so good, she murmured weakly. I quickly dug out the Dramamine and a bottle of water I'd packed. Here, take this. She swallowed the pill obediently, looking up at me with pathetic, pleading eyes. Leo, am I dying? I couldn't help but laugh. It's just motion sickness. You're not dying. But it feels so awful. She snuggled closer. Hold me. I froze. Across the aisle, Daisy's eyes were wide, her hand already resting on the hilt of her knife. I don't think that's a good idea. I said carefully. I don't care. She mumbled petulantly. I'm sick. Resigned. I gently put my arm around her. Daisy's glare could have set my jacket on fire, but to my surprise, she just snorted and turned to look out her own window. Phoenix gradually fell asleep in my arms, her breathing evening out. Looking at her peaceful face, I had a sudden realization. This powerful, hex-wielding priestess was, at the end of the day, just a small-town girl who had never been far from home. 21 when we finally arrived in Austin and stood on a downtown street surrounded by skyscrapers, Phoenix and Daisy were utterly shell-shocked. They stuck to me like glue, two frightened deer in a forest of steel and glass. Leo, why is everyone walking so fast? Phoenix whispered, clutching my sleeve. Are all city people in this much of a hurry to die? Daisy muttered, her hand gripping her knife. I sighed. This is just a normal pace. Come on, let's get to the hotel. At the hotel check-in, Phoenix saw the elevator and her jaw dropped. That little room moves up and down all by itself. It's magic. The receptionist was trying very hard not to laugh. I herded them into the elevator. The sudden feeling of ascent made Phoenix shriek and throw her arms around me, while Daisy actually drew her knife. Witchcraft. This is witchcraft. It's an elevator. Calm down. I yelled, grabbing her hand. After we finally got settled, I took them down to the hotel's restaurant for the dinner buffet. When they saw the endless tables of food, their eyes went wide. All of this is free, Phoenix whispered. You pay one price, then take whatever you want, I explained. Like two explorers discovering a new continent, they took a small portion of everything. Daisy took a bite of a chocolate lava cake, and her eyes nearly bugged out of her head. Phoenix, this black gooey stuff is the best thing I've ever eaten. Phoenix tried some and closed her eyes in bliss. Leo, do city people eat like this every day? Not every day. Watching them experience these simple things with such pure joy, I suddenly felt that bringing them here might have been the best decision I'd ever made. 22 inches the following days, I became their full-time tour guide. Phoenix fell in love with the Barton Springs pool, floating in the clear water and looking up at the sky, completely content. Leo, it's like a giant bathtub for the whole city, she yelled, splashing me. Can we get one of these for the hollow? I don't think that's how it works. Daisy, meanwhile, discovered a passion for MMA gyms. My heart nearly stopped when I walked in to find her having friendly sparred with 3 wannabe tough guys, all of whom were now groaning on the mat. They started it. Daisy insisted, not even out of breath. They were just trying to show you how to use the punching bag. That night, back at the hotel, Phoenix was standing at the floor-to-ceiling window, looking out at the city lights. She was unusually quiet. What's up? I asked. Leo, she said softly. Thank you for bringing me here. I paused. Why are you thanking me? You're the one who. I know what you were thinking. She turned, a sly smile playing on her lips. You thought you were tricking me into coming here. The truth is, I let you. What? I was completely floored. A binding hex is a two-way street. Leo, she said, taking a step toward me. I can feel your emotions, just like you can feel mine. She took another step. I knew you wanted to run. So, I let you think you were in control. I backed away until my back hit the wall. Wait, so this was all your plan? Not all of it. She tilted her head. I really did want to see the city. And she stepped right up to me and placed her hand on my chest. I could feel the little charm under my skin doing a happy little flip, as if to confirm her words. I was speechless, my heart hammering against my ribs. She rose on her toes and whispered in my ear. So, are you still planning on running away? I looked down at her face, so close to mine, and a slow smile spread across my lips. Not a chance. Why not? Because I summoned all my courage and wrapped my arms around her waist. I think I'm actually falling for you. Her eyes lit up, and the charm on my chest did a full-on salsa dance. Really, the head works both ways, right? Can't you feel it? I want to hear you say it. I took a deep breath and looked directly into her eyes. Phoenix Blue, I'm falling for you. And not because of some hex, but because you are the most incredible, infuriating, and amazing person I have ever met. A dazzling smile bloomed on her face, and she threw herself into my arms, hugging me tight. I knew it. My taste is impeccable. 23, just as the moment was becoming perfect, the door burst open. Phoenix, I figured out how to use that DoorDash thing. I ordered 10 of those chocolate lava. Daisy stopped short, seeing us locked in an embrace. She immediately spun around. Nope, didn't see a thing. Phoenix giggled, pulling away from me. Daisy, don't run off. Come share with us. And just like that, our new life in the city officially began. Phoenix adapted with astonishing speed, her greatest discovery being online shopping, which led to a dramatic increase on my credit card bill. Leo, do you like this dress? Leo, is this shade of lipstick good for me? Leo, look at these light-up cat ears. They're so cute. Watching her joyfully model her new wardrobe, I realized the mountain priestess who'd hexed me had transformed into a vibrant city girl who embraced life with open arms. Daisy found her calling too. She joined an MMA gym for real. When she won her first amateur bout by knockout, Phoenix and I were screaming our heads off in the stands. That's my cousin. Phoenix yelled proudly to everyone around us. 6 months later, Phoenix and I opened a small restaurant in South Austin. We called it The Hollow. It was a fusion concept, her Appalachian mountain recipes, my modern Austin foodie sensibilities. Daisy became our head of security and, unexpectedly, a TikTok star, thanks to her viral videos demonstrating mountain self-defense. On opening night, Phoenix wore a dress that was a stunning blend of a traditional white wedding gown and mountain silver, because we were getting married next month. "Leo," she said that night, after we'd closed up, leaning against me as we looked out at the quiet street. "Do you ever miss the quiet of the mountains?" "Sometimes," I said, stroking her hair. "We should go back and visit. Tell them our story." "The elders are going to have a fit," she laughed. "They thought I was just going on a research trip. I ended up quitting my job as High Priestess." "Do you regret it?" I asked. She looked up at me, her eyes full of a love so deep it still took my breath away. "Home is wherever you are." The little charm on my chest gave a final, contented little roll, as if to say, "See, told you so." Which just goes to show you, kids, never, ever accept a free drink from a beautiful stranger in the woods. The end.